Are you ready for a poem? You better get ready. This is An Heirloom, a Wound by Tiff Reagan. I come to you flawed and foul, with a wound I cannot heal alone. A wound passed down to me by a woman who could not love herself. A woman who was bequeathed the same wound by her mother before her. Like a treasured heirloom, some delicate lace trim wrapped in yellowing paper, it adorned the edges of a bodice, laid against the curve of breasts that once trembled in anticipation of touch, but now recoil, sink in on themselves at the thought of another helpless eel's mouth, grubby, greedy fingers, and careless strikes to the heart. How quickly the lace's patterns hardened into hollow bones, still somehow too heavy to take flight. It grew feathers, spread its wings, and wrapped around each woman's neck, in an embrace that made it impossible to stand up straight again, to raise her eyes and chin, to see sunrise or horizon, from a view ever more obstructed. That lace was once thought an innocent promise, representing a gift passed down through the hands of 10,000 grandmothers. Centuries before, it would have been honored by chant, by celebration, by dance. But like a game of telephone, words were distorted, sacred wisdom lost, ritual abandoned, filtered by time and history, and more importantly, who was allowed to tell it. With every generation finding a more efficient way to temper the wild, to curl or straighten, to polish, to pluck, to slim, to smooth the hard edges on the outside, rather than go within. Now my inheritance sits in plastic, preserved by that which was made from decay, bypassed until it can be handed down unceremoniously, attached to stiff colonial handwriting that reads, "Congratulations! Isn't it the dream of every young feminine to be the object of attention, of affection, of need?" To be the object, grandmothers? How many tongues were in your mouth when you convinced yourself that an object can still have dreams? For years, I thought if I rejected the lace, never had the occasion to wear it, I'd remain immune. As if white knuckles and rigid walls could keep a birthright at bay. As if the damage wasn't already embedded in my sternum, driven deeper, cruelly and casually, by every woman I've met who self-abandoned, ignored intuition, insulted another's body, choices, ambition. For those women, for my 10,000 grandmothers, for my aunts, nieces, and cousins, for the woman who raised the little girl I used to be, I choose better. This wound ends with me. So, I learned to hold both poison and milk on my palate, to coat my mouth with discernment, to slowly separate pain from nourishment, to forgive myself for starving, swallowing too fast, making the same antiquated mistakes, to let go of shame that never belonged to me, to soften, to feel into the curves of my body, to ask questions and listen, to understand the lessons, to trust the process, to love myself enough, to persist. There are hard days, and sometimes I long for the refuge of you. I let my exhausted mind paint a scene, You bust down chapel doors, hubris on a white horse, declaring that you can outpace fate. By firelight, you whisper that you intend to worship the wound away. You drag your lips across my skin, flossing passion and prayer between your teeth. The dream is so perfect, so damn pretty that I let myself believe it. Until the moment you start coughing and the ground is suddenly covered in feathers and spit. How the ego adores reinforcing the cage, how it tempers the sound of a lover choking, of a daughter crying, of 10,000 voices keening. Cognizant, I shake illusion from eardrums and return to the work, meticulously separating bird from anatomy. I do not ask to be saved, Mokri. With grace and gratitude, I ask only that you hold space, that you bear witness as I claw at the bones fused to my rib cage, scraping back the last layers with broken fingernails. That you take a deep breath as I rip the sharpened beak from my diaphragm. That you stay present as I suture tired, angry skin. That you whisper love as the down of the albatross transforms to lace again.